Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something powerful. Every morning you wake up is a gift from God. It is an opportunity to align yourself with His will, to walk in His favor, and to rest in His protection. But how do you step into a day fully confident that no matter what comes your way, you are safe under His covering? The answer lies in the Word of God, and one of the most profound declarations of protection is found in Psalm 27. When David said, "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid?" He wasn't speaking from a place of comfort. He was speaking from a place of understanding who God is in the midst of life's uncertainties. Every new day is an opportunity to step into the purpose and promises of God. When the first light of morning touches your eyes, it is not just a natural occurrence, it is a reminder of God's grace and mercy, a signal that you have been given another chance to fulfill His plans for your life. This realization should awaken a sense of gratitude and reverence, as the mere act of waking up is evidence of His faithfulness. Acknowledging each morning as a divine gift means recognizing that life itself is not guaranteed. Many laid their heads to rest the night before with plans for the next day, but not all were granted the privilege of seeing it. Yet here you are, breathing, thinking, and ready to move forward. This is not by accident. God, in His infinite wisdom, chose to wake you up because your assignment on this earth is not yet complete. Your life is a testimony of His intention, a canvas upon which He desires to paint His glory. Starting your day with this perspective shifts your focus from routine to reverence. It moves you beyond the mundane and into the miraculous. Instead of being overwhelmed by the pressures or uncertainties of the day, you are reminded that the one who gave you this day is also the one who holds it in His hands. The worries, plans, and challenges you may face pale in comparison to the power of the God who orchestrated the rising of the sun and the beating of your heart. Acknowledging the morning as a gift also calls for intentionality. It is not enough to simply wake up and move on with your day. This recognition demands a response. Begin your morning by pausing to thank God for the breath in your lungs, the strength in your body, and the purpose He has placed within you. Gratitude is the key that unlocks the awareness of His presence. When you start your day by thanking Him, you align your spirit with His, inviting Him to guide your steps and order your path. This perspective transforms how you approach your day. You no longer see it as just another 24 hours to get through, but as a sacred opportunity to partner with God. Whether you are facing a packed schedule, a challenging task, or a quiet day of rest, understanding that it is a gift changes your attitude. It instills a sense of expectancy, knowing that God has already gone before you to prepare the way. It also fills you with peace, knowing that whatever comes, His grace is sufficient to sustain you. There is also a call to stewardship in this understanding. A gift is meant to be treasured and used wisely. Each morning, you are entrusted with time, energy, and opportunities to impact the world around you. How you choose to use these resources reflects your acknowledgement of their divine origin. Wasting the day in worry, negativity, or purposelessness dishonors the gift you have been given. Instead, approach each day with a mindset of diligence and intentionality, seeking to make the most of every moment for His glory. Furthermore, acknowledging the morning as a divine gift reminds you of your dependence on God. Just as you did not create the breath in your lungs, you cannot sustain it on your own. This awareness fosters humility, a recognition that your life is not your own but belongs to the one who created you. It is a call to surrender your plans, desires, and fears to Him, trusting that He knows what is best for you. When you begin your day in this posture of surrender, you position yourself to walk in step with His will. Every morning is a fresh start, a new page in the story of your life. No matter what happened yesterday, today is an opportunity to draw closer to God, to grow in faith, and to live out His purpose for you. His mercies are new every morning, and His faithfulness is unending. Recognizing this truth fills you with hope, knowing that the mistakes of the past do not define you and that His grace is always available to move you forward. Ultimately, the gift of a new day is an invitation to dwell in God's presence and experience His goodness. It is a call to live with intentionality, gratitude, and trust, embracing the opportunity to walk in His light and reflect His love to the world around you. Each morning is a reminder that your life is part of a greater plan, a sacred gift from a loving Creator who desires nothing less than your best. To embrace God as your light and salvation is to fully acknowledge Him as the source of your clarity, direction, and deliverance. When David declared, "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear?" he wasn't speaking from a place of ease or comfort, but from a profound understanding of who God is and what He does in the lives of His people. Light represents so much more than physical illumination. It is the essence of guidance, truth, and hope. To walk in God's light is to walk with assurance that darkness, confusion, and fear cannot overcome you because the presence of His light dispels every shadow. In life, there are moments of uncertainty when the path ahead seems unclear. Decisions must be made, obstacles arise, and the weight of doubt can cloud your vision. But when you embrace God as your light, you declare that He is your guide through every season. His light provides clarity in confusion and direction when you feel lost. It shines into the hidden places of your heart, revealing truths that need to be addressed and strengthening areas where you feel weak. This light is not fleeting or dependent on circumstances. It is constant and unwavering, a reflection of God's eternal nature. Salvation, on the other hand, goes beyond the eternal rescue of your soul. It encompasses every moment of deliverance, protection, and victory you experience in this life. To embrace God as your salvation is to recognize Him as your defender and deliverer. It means trusting that no matter what challenges you face, He is able to save you. This salvation is not just about being rescued from danger or trouble, but about being continually restored, renewed, and uplifted by His power. It is the assurance that no weapon formed against you will prosper and that His plans for you are for good and not harm. Fear often tries to creep in when we forget who God is. Life's uncertainties, the opinions of others, and even our own insecurities can make us feel vulnerable. But when you embrace God as your light and salvation, you strip fear of its power. You declare, as David did, that because of who God is, there is no reason to be afraid. Fear thrives in the absence of light, but it cannot survive where God's presence reigns. His light exposes the lies that fear tries to tell, and His salvation reminds you that you are never alone in any battle. Living with this understanding also requires a shift in perspective. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the challenges of life, but when you see God as your light, you begin to focus not on the problem, but on the solution. His light reveals the bigger picture, showing you that He is in control, even when circumstances seem chaotic. His salvation gives you confidence to move forward, knowing that He has already secured the victory on your behalf. This mindset transforms how you approach difficulties. Instead of shrinking back in doubt, you step forward in faith, trusting that He will make a way. Embracing God as your light and salvation also means living with an attitude of trust and dependence. You cannot create light on your own, nor can you save yourself from life's struggles. Only God has the power to illuminate your path and deliver you from harm. This realization fosters humility, reminding you that your strength is not enough, but that His strength is always sufficient. When you surrender your plans, fears, and uncertainties to Him, you open the door for His light to shine brighter and His salvation to work more powerfully in your life. This relationship is not one-sided. God desires for you to seek Him daily, to invite His light and salvation into every area of your life. Prayer, worship, and meditating on His Word are ways to deepen your connection with Him and align your heart with His will. When you do this, His light becomes your guiding force, and His salvation becomes the foundation of your confidence. You begin to see each day as an opportunity to walk in His truth, reflecting His light to others and testifying to His saving power. Ultimately, to embrace God as your light and salvation is to live in the reality of His presence and power. It is to trust him to guide you through every season of life and to deliver you from every challenge. His light brings clarity. His salvation brings security. And together they create a life of peace and purpose. In him, you find not only the answers you seek, but also the assurance that you are held by the one who is greater than anything you will ever face. To rest in God as your stronghold is to find peace and security in his unshakable presence. A stronghold is a place of refuge, a fortified shelter that offers protection against any attack. In the spiritual sense, it means acknowledging that God is your ultimate source of safety, a place where no harm can reach you and no enemy can prevail. Resting in him is not about passivity, it is an active trust in his power, his promises, and his ability to defend and uphold you in every circumstance. Life often brings challenges that can feel overwhelming, pressures from responsibilities, unexpected crises, and battles that seem too great to fight. In these moments, there is a tendency to rely on one's strength, intellect, or resources to find solutions. Yet, human strength is limited and can only take you so far. When you rest in God as your stronghold, you are choosing to step out of self-reliance and into divine reliance. You are surrendering the need to control every outcome and placing your trust in the one who holds all things in his hands. God's stronghold is not a physical location, but a spiritual reality. It is a state of being in which you are enveloped by his presence, shielded by his power, and sustained by his grace. This refuge is impenetrable to the schemes of the enemy. When you rest in him, no matter how fierce the battle around you may be, you are secure. This rest is not an escape from life's difficulties, but a confidence that even in the midst of them, you are protected. The winds may blow and the waves may crash, but within his stronghold, you are unshaken. Resting in God as your stronghold also means embracing his peace. The world offers temporary fixes and fleeting comforts, but only God provides a peace that surpasses all understanding. When you abide in him, you experience a calm that defies logic, a stillness that persists even when circumstances are chaotic. This peace is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of God, reassuring you that he is in control. It is the deep, unshakable assurance that no weapon formed against you will prosper, and that his plans for you are greater than any obstacle in your way. To rest in God requires trust, and trust comes from knowing who he is. He is not only your refuge, but also your defender and protector. When David declared in Psalm 27, "The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid?" he was affirming his confidence in God's ability to shield him from harm. This was not blind faith, it was a trust built on experience, on witnessing God's faithfulness time and time again. You too can develop this trust by remembering the ways God has carried you through past trials and by meditating on his promises. Resting in God as your stronghold also means surrendering your fears and burdens to him. It is easy to carry the weight of worry, to dwell on the what-ifs and uncertainties of life. But God invites you to cast all your cares on him because he cares for you. He does not expect you to bear the load alone. When you choose to let go of your anxieties and place them in his hands, you create space for his strength to uphold you. Rest is found in this act of surrender, in laying down your burdens at his feet and trusting that he will take care of them. This rest is not merely for moments of crisis, but for daily living. Everyday presence and opportunity to dwell in the stronghold of God's presence, to start your morning with the assurance that he is your protector, and to end your day with gratitude for his faithfulness. In his stronghold, you find not only protection, but also renewal. He restores your soul, renews your strength, and prepares you to face each new day with courage and hope. The stronghold of God is not dependent on your circumstances or emotions. It is anchored in his unchanging character. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and his promises are sure. No matter how the world around you shifts or changes, his stronghold remains steadfast. To rest in him is to place your trust in this unshakable foundation, to know that he will never leave you nor forsake you. In his presence, you find rest for your weary soul, strength for your battles, and peace that transcends every storm. confidence rooted in God's faithfulness is not the result of self-assurance or personal achievements, but a deep trust in who God is and what He has done. His faithfulness is unchanging and steadfast, a foundation upon which you can build your life without fear of it crumbling. Developing confidence through His faithfulness begins with recognizing that He has always been present, guiding, protecting, and providing for you, even in times when His work wasn't immediately visible. In every season of life, God's faithfulness reveals itself in various ways. Whether it's through answered prayers, unexpected provision, or moments of peace amid chaos, His consistent care becomes evident when you pause to reflect. These experiences serve as reminders that you are never alone and that He is always at work, orchestrating everything for your good and His glory. This awareness builds confidence as you begin to see His hand in your past and trust Him for your future. Confidence grows when you acknowledge that God is a covenant-keeping God. He does not break His promises, and His word remains true no matter what circumstances you face. Scriptures like "The Lord is faithful to all His promises and loving toward all He has made." Psalm 145:13 reinforce this truth. When you meditate on His promises, you anchor your confidence in the unshakable reality of His nature. This confidence is not fleeting or dependent on external validation. It is a deep, abiding trust in the character of God. Life's challenges often test your confidence, but they also provide opportunities to witness God's faithfulness firsthand. When you face trials, you can choose to rely on your own strength or lean on God's. Those who choose to trust Him discover that His grace is sufficient, His power is made perfect in weakness, and His presence is constant. Each trial overcome becomes a testimony of His faithfulness, reinforcing your confidence and equipping you to face future challenges with greater boldness. The act of remembering is crucial in developing confidence through God's faithfulness. In moments of doubt or fear, looking back on times when God carried you through impossible situations can reignite your faith. David in his Psalms frequently recounted God's past deliverance as a source of encouragement. When he faced Goliath, his confidence came not from his own strength, but from remembering how God had delivered him from the lion and the bear. In the same way, recalling God's past faithfulness in your life fortifies you against present fears. Confidence in God's faithfulness also transforms your perspective on waiting. There are times when answers to prayers or solutions to problems don't come immediately. During these seasons, trust in His faithfulness reminds you that His timing is perfect and His plans are for your good. Waiting becomes less about anxiety and more about expectation, knowing that God is always working, even when you can't see it. This assurance allows you to face delays with patience and peace, rooted in the belief that His faithfulness never fails. Faithfulness is not just something God does, it is who He is. This means His faithfulness is not dependent on your actions or worthiness, but is a reflection of His character. Even when you falter, He remains steadfast. This truth frees you from the burden of trying to earn His love or provision and allows you to rest in the confidence that He is always for you. It's a confidence that doesn't waver with circumstances because it's anchored in the immovable truth of who God is. When you live with confidence in God's faithfulness, it changes how you approach life. You no longer see challenges as insurmountable or setbacks as final. Instead, you face them with the assurance that God is with you and that His faithfulness will see you through. This confidence inspires courage, enabling you to take bold steps of faith, knowing that He will not fail you. It also fosters resilience, as you are no longer shaken by adversity, but strengthened by the knowledge that His faithfulness is greater than any obstacle. Ultimately, confidence through God's faithfulness is a posture of the heart. It is a decision to trust Him above your fears, doubts, and circumstances. It is a daily choice to believe that His promises are true, His love is unfailing, and His presence is constant. As you walk in this confidence, you reflect His faithfulness to the world, becoming a living testimony of His goodness and grace. Anchoring your day in Psalm 27 is a deliberate act of aligning your heart, mind, and spirit with the truths of God's Word. It is more than a casual reading. It is an intentional practice of immersing yourself in the Psalm's profound declarations about God's protection, guidance, and sustaining presence. Starting your day this way establishes a foundation of faith and confidence, equipping you to face whatever challenges lie ahead with unwavering trust in God. Psalm 27 begins with a powerful declaration, "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid?" By meditating on these words each morning, you remind yourself that God is your ultimate source of guidance and deliverance. His light illuminates your path, dispels the darkness of uncertainty, and provides clarity in the decisions you must make. His salvation reassures you that no matter what trials or threats may come, He is your defender, and there is no need to live in fear. This psalm also emphasizes the importance of seeking God's presence throughout the day. "One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life." By anchoring your day in this desire, you cultivate a heart that longs for communion with Him. You prioritize time in prayer, worship, and reflection, creating space for His presence to guide and strengthen you. Dwelling with God is not limited to physical places, but involves carrying an awareness of His nearness wherever you go. This constant connection sustains you through every situation, whether joyful or challenging. Psalm 27 also speaks to the confidence that comes from trusting God's protection in the day of trouble. "He will keep me safe in His dwelling. He will hide me in the shelter of His sacred tent and set me high upon a rock." By reflecting on these promises, you start your day with the assurance that God is your refuge. Even when circumstances seem unstable or threatening, you can rest in the truth that He is your shelter, lifting you above the turmoil and securing you in His care. This confidence enables you to move forward boldly, knowing that you are covered by His love and power. Anchoring your day in Psalm 27 also shapes your perspective on challenges. The psalmist acknowledges the presence of enemies and difficulties, but does so with an unshakable trust in God's ability to overcome them. "Though an army besiege me, my heart will not fear. Though war break out against me, even then I will be confident." These words remind you that adversity is a part of life, but it does not have the final say. By starting your day with this perspective, you equip yourself to face obstacles with courage, not because of your strength, but because of God's unfailing support. Another powerful aspect of Psalm 27 is the call to wait on the Lord. "Wait for the Lord, be strong, and take heart, and wait for the Lord." Anchoring your day in this truth helps you approach the demands and uncertainties of life with patience and trust. It teaches you to rely on God's timing rather than rushing to resolve everything on your own. Waiting on the Lord is not passive, it is an active posture of faith, believing that He is working on your behalf even when answers are not immediate. This trust cultivates peace and prevents anxiety from taking root. As you intentionally anchor your day in Psalm 27, you also develop a spirit of gratitude and worship. The psalmist declares, "I will sing and make music to the Lord." By starting your day with praise, you shift your focus from the burdens of life to the blessings of God. Gratitude transforms your outlook, reminding you of His goodness and faithfulness. It strengthens your faith and renews your joy, enabling you to approach the day with a positive and hopeful attitude. Making Psalm 27 the anchor of your day is not merely a habit, it is a transformative practice. It aligns your thoughts with God's truth, strengthens your faith, and fills you with His peace and courage. As you meditate on its words, you invite His presence into every aspect of your life, setting the tone for a day lived in the light of His promises and power. In embracing Psalm 27 as the foundation for your life, you are choosing to live each day anchored in God's protection, light, and faithfulness. This psalm is more than words, it is a declaration of trust in the one who never fails. It calls you to seek His presence, rest in His stronghold, and walk with the confidence that comes from His unwavering promises. When you begin your morning with these truths, you equip yourself to face life's uncertainties with courage and hope, knowing that the Lord is your light, salvation, and stronghold. Let this psalm not only inspire your heart, but transform your daily walk. As you dwell in His presence and wait on Him with faith, strength, and unshakable assurance,